Hello everyone, welcome to our new series. In this series, we will discuss about online privacy and how you can be safe and secure while you do stuffs online. Before we start, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notified as soon as we post new topics related to cybersecurity. Also, give us a thumbs up if you like the content.
Okay, so we will cover the below points here. So first, we will inform you what is actually internet privacy. Next point, we will discuss what and why privacy matters when you are online. Next, common internet privacy issues that you need to watch out for if you want to be safe in all respect. Fourth point, internet behavior that might impact your privacy and the common errors that people generally tends to do. And the last point, ways to protect your privacy and security when you are doing something on internet. So first, let's see what is actually internet privacy. So what does the term privacy means to us? So if you or if we go by any kind of general term, so privacy is a kind of fundamental human right. Now, it might have been referring to any kind of personal privacy that uh, you entitled to when you display something, when you store something, maybe in physical format. And the privacy that comes into the internet settings, it's like the same thing which is happening on the internet site of facing, and you are doing everything on internet. So this includes your personally identifying information, what we called as PII, and sensitive personal identifying information, what we call that sensitive PII information. So those details can be including like your very important information, like your maybe your date of birth, maybe your license number, maybe your Aadhaar card number, your bank details, etc. So those information, when you are online, you if you are storing it somewhere, or if you are logging in to any of the internet portal, that is your private information. And if that gets leaked in via any kind of malicious activity or any kind of espionage attack as per se, so that will be a violation of human right, isn't it? So without internet privacy, all of our activities like subject to for like being collected on by analyzed by any internet parties, right? So me and you, if you are collecting your information, so we can build up our analytical scope and to identify what is your hobbies, what you like to eat, where you want to go, what is your favorite topic, what is your favorite character, what do you see online, like videos and everything, every other information what might pose a threat for human, right? So these are basically internet privacy. So when we call it as a internet privacy, this is basically the subset of data privacy and the fundamental human right as per se. Now, next thing, why does privacy matter to us? So it could be a something like foolish question, but just as a thought, like some people might understand, or we can build up the question in like that way, why does internet privacy matter? So we will focus in like that way. So if we just pause for a second and just think, what is your actual privacy? So in terms of your physical privacy, as we mentioned in the previous slide, so that could be you want something to be secret, you do not want to share those information, so that could be anything. So might be the place where you want to visit in next week, maybe your personal information related to your um, any kind of login information. So that comes into the data privacy aspect, right? And you wouldn't want those data to go any kind of person which or who might have been using that for their own purpose or for own stake, right? So where all of your activities and personal information such like a medical record, like any bank balance, like any credit card information, and the email by which you might be talking to other people, what happens if those get to some other people had? So literally those people will know everything and anything about you, right? And you want to safeguard those information for your own sake. So that is the reason why internet privacy matters. And now in the age of hashtag, in the age of like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, so as we say, privacy is basically a myth now. So whatever information you are giving, one way or another, that information is getting used either by your internet service provider or by the other methods, like where you are posting those data for their analytical purpose, and they literally sell your data to some third party for building up those analytical scope. So that is the reason if you search something on any online shopping website, you get the similar advertisement in the other pages where you visit. So just think, and just think in that scenario, that how does those third party website where you have never been visited, how they come to know about your choice, what you are searching uh, in some like online shopping portal, right? So that's a huge stake. So now we will see the common internet privacy issues that we need to watch out for. So first option is tracking. So just remember one point, that everything is being tracked by one way or another when you are doing some activity or online. So you need to be very careful about those ads, those activity which might be flushed up onto your screen when you are doing something. Now, second point is very important. So now most of the sites, when you visit them, they have a consent for accepting cookie. So what does actually they mean? So we have a tendency to just open it and just click the OK option. So when you click the OK option, so in their policy and in their terms and condition, you agree to mention their terms and conditions. So that means your data, what actually you are seeing on that particular website, is getting stored on a cookie on their particular server. And might be the possibility is also there that you can destroy the cookie on your own browser, on your own machine locally, but that information might be getting stored in the central server of that particular application where you are visiting. So you do not have much control on it, right? So when you are clicking OK, just to be sure that you really need to store your information or want to give your information to those third party websites. So always be remembering and always be cautious while you are clicking. Now, third point we will discuss that some people uh, might have relevant ad being served to them. So, but for others, so that particular ad might be a huge privacy. So if I take an example of like a one person is getting huge number of ads, so he just ignored the ads by saying that okay, so I have served like maybe some third party website for any shopping website or for any food website. I have searched for these things, so that is the reason I am getting the advertisement on some other page when I don't need it. But for some other people, it might be a concern. So that is the thinking we need to keep in our mind, that okay, so how come this third party website is getting the information what I am searching on another site? So think on it. Next thing is surveillance. So it's quite similar as the previous talk we have given, like the tracking, but surveillance is a different kind of mode and they watch in a different kind of fashion. So when you search something online, when you are doing some activity on a regular basis while you are online, one way or another, because your maybe if your internet service provider, maybe the popular search engine, they are storing their your habit or your searching habit to build up their own data analytics. And in some way or another, government, or we shouldn't tell that government should, government has that kind of authority in some position. They want to get that information from that ISP or from that search engine per se. So if you are accessing something fishy on Google website for a long time, and maybe Google is storing that kind of data in their server for an analytics purpose. Now, if something happens for a state level or for a national level, so government has that authority to curve out that data from their server, and they can serve a legal notice to them, and they are bound to give that data to them. So think like in that way. So uh, internet connection, they are bound to store the data for a year, maybe a longer than year. So that comes into the regulatory perspective, how that particular company or organization is working. So for organization A, that regulatory perspective could be to store the user data for 6 months, but another, it could be for 1 year as well. So surveillance is a big thing that you need to watch out for. So always be cautious what actually you are doing online. So people think that, okay, I am typing something in Google, maybe I'll delete my history, I'll delete my cookie, and that's done. So no one can catch me ever. So if something like you are searching some illegal stuff on internet, so you never shouldn't think like that way. No one can catch you. So there is an eye always behind your back. Next thing is like theft. So that is another big thing. Cyber criminal use malware, spyware, in any kind of technology to phish you and to spam you literally. So you might not understand that the person whom you are talking to is an actual real person, or a good person, or as a thief. So always you need to watch out for that kind of phishing technology or that kind of spamware or malware when they urge you something. If you are giving any information to them, you need to have a trustworthy relationship with that party. If you know them via core of your knowledge, you can share the information with them. Otherwise, do not do anything like that. So you might be get into the trap of the cyber theft, and you can lose your money, you can lose your evidence, you can lose your data. So data is the new oil, right? So you can lose that as well. So be cautious on that part. Next thing, we will talk about now the internet behavior that might impact your privacy. So first point, uh, for our own safety or for our own ease of use, we have a tendency to use the same username and same password in hundreds of sites that we might be using. So that's a very bad practice. You should never do such kind of thing. So you can ask me one question, then how I'm gonna uh, remember all those password and username on my head? And that is also not recommended to write down your password or to store your password in plain text in your mobile device or computer. So there are some application available which can manage your password and which can manage your user information. So you can use those application to maintain that information. So you can Google that option and you will get a lot of option. But always remember to uninstall some trustworthy relation. So suppose if you are using any Mac device, so that has a option called chain. So that is a keychain option. So keychain is basically a utility or tool which is used for storing your credential in a safe manner. So when you do not need to use or remember your credential, so keychain will remember your credential for a particular site and it will help you to log in. So you can use something like similar application, and do not use same password and credential on multiple sites. Now you need to always remember when you are working on some online application, you have to log out when you are done. So people have the tendency to generally switch off that particular browser tab or close that browser tab or click the back button from the browser tab. So we are talking about not from tech savvy person but for general people. So you always need to remember to log out from that website so when you are not working on them, never leave them like that way. So you do not know, so we won't go to the technical aspect of what might have happened, what could be the Brinell physical scenario, but you should always remember to log out. Next, so when you are getting some kind of like information to click OK or confirm or cancel, so always read the terms and condition before doing the click. So if you do something or if you read something which seems to be dodgy, so you shouldn't be clicking that OK on confirm button. You can choose the option to cancel. So in some cases, there are some boundary or you might be bound to accept their terms and condition to view their application or to view or to use their application. So we would suggest you, if you see something fishy on their terms and condition and if you are forced to accept that, do not use that app or do not use that application at all. Use some alternative. So that's a best option. And always remember not to open any attachment, any download, like what might be got downloaded into your machine when you are waiting or you are working on some online tool. So straight away delete them off and do not open any suspicious attachment in any other, from maybe from your mobile email, maybe from your SMS, maybe from any other method. So do not click anywhere which from where basically the source of that incoming email or the incoming message is unknown to you. So there are some technologies which might be developed to fish you in that way. You never understand that okay, this is the legitimate email or not. So always remember in that way. So if you know some person, so they wouldn't ask you to right away click that link, do here, go there. So they won't ask like that way. So the email, you would read that email and use your intuition in such a way that you would understand that okay, this might be seeing something fishy. And before doing anything, just do a pause and then think what might be the consequence of that and then do the work accordingly. Next thing, we will jump you how you can protect your privacy and security when you are online. So first thing, secure your web browser. So there are like multiple techniques by which you can secure your web browser. We will paste a link in the description box below so you can check out that. So we will give the description of how you can secure your browser, like if you are using Mozilla, if you are using Google Chrome, and if you need to be maintaining those steps for using your say browser in a safer way. So you need, so as a whole you need to enable, you need to disable JavaScript, you need to disable your Flash application, some other technical stuffs as well. So we won't go to deep dive on that, but just you can follow the link and you will get understand. So if you have any query, if you can let us know in the comment section below, we'll happy to help you. Next thing, use a VPN when is possible. So VPN is a kind of thing, virtual private network. So what is actually does, it creates a tunnel from your machine to the third party VPN server, and from that server your traffic gets routed to the application to which you are viewing. So you will get a lot of trusted VPN. Some are paid. Mostly those are paid. And when you are doing some activity, so don't trust something which is free. So the free thing is not always good. So that is again a major point we would like to highlight. Never connect to a Wi-Fi which is free of cost. So it's really easy to serve or to um, put an eye on that internet traffic, what you are actually searching or surfing. So we will post another video how easily you can track traffic on um, freeware internet or Wi-Fi connection. So you can watch out that. And let us know how you can be secure in that kind of fashion, or if you have done something similar, um, how you can manage your system something like that way you do not do it in further days. So that is a main thing. What is free, it's not always good, so remember that. So for coming back to the VPN portion, so you can buy some licensed VPN and you can use that. So that is a way to hide your connection or to hide your data from any um, evil eye per se. Next thing, keep your software up to date. So whenever we have we have basically a tendency to skip the update, or we have a tendency to basically um, click the option where you see that, okay, I'll do that in later time, I do not need to update the system because it might require a reboot. So do not do that. So whenever an update comes, generally the update gets pushed to your system automatically. So when you get that update option, always remember to do that immediately without doing any delay. So that is a main uh, funda to be secure or to patch any vulnerabilities that might be attacked by any malicious actor and do harm to your system and your private data as well. Next thing, install antivirus program and active malware like firewall protection. We can give a link in description box below how you can activate the firewall, default firewall into your machine. So most of the updated version of the operating system, like if we talk about Windows 10, it comes up with the inbuilt antivirus software. You might not need a third party software for antivirus per se in your system, but to remember always to keep that on and again keep that updated. If you are using any third party, again do that licensed version, use that licensed version. Do not use anything like patched version or like a packed version as per se or cracked version. So always remember to use what is coming from a real source, and they have the responsibility to maintain their own software. So when you are purchasing some software from a company, they are liable to serve you in a proper manner. So always follow that, right? Next thing, as we mentioned about the cookies previously, when you exit your browser, so might be this is not always possible, but once in a while, maybe a week time or maybe 15 days time, you need to go back, you need to click the settings of your browser and you need to clear up the cookies. So sometimes the cookies information, if your system is getting infected, so there are some viruses or trojan that might be sitting on your system which can harvest your cookie and send that information to the malicious actor. So to do that or to kill that particular trojan, it's always safe to delete your cookies once in a while. Next thing, you can adjust your settings on Google, Facebook. So we will post a description, post a link in the description how you can do that. So basically, as per se, like you can take the advantages of adjust your settings on those things. So when we say the adjustment, so there might be option to show your public information to the people who you trust, who are your friends. You do not need to open that to everyone. So social media is like a huge platform for cyber criminals. So you might be getting an request from a like good looking girl and you might accept that. Now you never know who is the real person behind that mask. So always remember, um, what you share actually in the Facebook or in any kind of social media, that might get harvested for your own bad. So never trust anyone. So always follow the trust zero model and do the adjustment privacy settings to your own beneficiary level to not to show everything to everyone. Next thing, this is very much important. So you need to pay attention, like when you are using or when you are doing some transaction or online, always see that if your communication on the page on which you are actually working is HTTPS. It's not, it shouldn't be HTTP or anything else. So it has to be a HTTPS. So this is a secured socket layer certified app or website per se, we will say. There are ways to break HTTPS and fool people to um, do the harm. Actually, those sites might be not trusted or certified properly, but those are deep technical term. But in general scenario, those are very tricky to do. But when you are doing some kind of transaction or um, some kind of activity, always see that the if the page is HTTPS. So they are kind of technique cyber criminal use to copy the whole page. So let's take an example of banking website. So you might search something like something xyzbank.com in Google, and Google will show you some like 10 recommendation, right? So we generally have the tendency to click on what is coming at first. But cyber criminals might fool you to uh, use Google search engine in some other way to force you to show their page, not the actual bank page in the first front page on the front liner. And you might click that unknowingly, and that page is actually created to harvest your banking credential. So those pages sometimes or at times might not be HTTPS. So you always need to see that what page is going with HTTPS and you can trust on them. Next thing, you need to share files online if you are sharing that in a secured manner. So we have a tendency to share our critical files via email, like for like if you want to apply for any bank account and bank agent ask you for your KYC, you give them those information as a plain text or a clear picture per se. Never do that. So always put it into a zip format and encrypt it with a password. It's a very two-step process. When you do a zipping, do the right click, and when you are creating that, it will show you an option to create password in that particular page. So use that option and share the password to that particular agent in some other way. So that is the another way to be secure and safeguard your own file. So you do not need to save or share all the files that you share, but at least the files which are holding your PII data, you should share with the password protected format. Now, this is probably the last topic on this series. Never trust something or never trust any app which is coming from any untrusted website. So we have some kind of tendency that okay, I need that app, and that app is not available in like Google Play Store or iStore. Now you simply Google it and you download one APK package from a third party tool. So refrain from doing that for your own good. So don't fall into prey or hype that like something installing like trendy apps for any like of any kind of storing application. So you will see a lot of current trend generally goes in Facebook, generally goes in Instagram, for where people can create some different pictures of their faces. They can do some modification on beautification on their selfies. So before you get into yourself into that line, just think just get pause for a little bit time and just read the what is the usage of that particular app. And if you trust that app fully, then only you are a, basically you can install that app into your machine. So by doing that, so you are only safeguarding your own data. So just think it like that way. So now India government has banned 59 apps for cybersecurity and data privacy reason. So we do not know that that is the only motive for banning them. So we have made another video for explaining that. So we will give the link in the description below. Please check that out as well. But we will not go into that route. But if your something data is private, or you are doing something when someone is stealing your data, you won't be in a good position, right? So don't fall into prey or hype that if someone is doing that, I also need to do that. So just think it like that way. If cam scanner the in the list of 59 banned app, it's a simple scanning app. Why the app needs the access or permission to access your phone numbers, access your information what is stored in Google? So we trust those apps and we click the confirm and we give the permission to access those information for them to run that application, but never do that. So next thing, for any site, multiple sites can give you example or to give you the authentication behavior using Google or Facebook. So suppose you are using a third party website and you need to create a login page, and you need to create an account. Always remember to create a separate account, create a separate username password. You can mention the email ID, but never mention the email ID, like sorry, the not the email ID, the password what you are mentioning in Google and Facebook. And never use the login with Google or Facebook option. So do not do that. You never know what, how, and why the third party is accessing their data. So if you are logging in using Google, so one way or another, your credential is also getting stored in their server in a fun format. So that might not be a plain text, that might be a hashed password, but you never know what is the algorithm and how easy that can be break, that can be actually broken to get your free text password, right? So always remember to create a separate account. Now we already talked about the third point. Fourth point is use privacy settings to restrict your information to limit. So that is also another point we discussed and we told about already. So to whom you are sharing that information, always remember to use your privacy settings to restrict your information to only to those people who you are aware of or who you know about. Now use always two-factor authentication. So this is a huge plus point for some application to use securely. So suppose if you want to log into Gmail, so Google gives you a good option to use your second factor authentication. So what does actually mean? It actually comes in a dual way. So first, who you are, second, what you have. So suppose if we are BlackPerl, so we will say that okay, this is my ID BlackPerl, this is my password dot dot dot, and so that gives the information who I am. Now second factor authentication is what you have to prove yourself that you are only the BlackPerl. So that scenario can um, be done with like any kind of SMS settings, any kind of one-time password, and there are a lot of authenticator app is also available, like you can use Okta authentication app. You can use any kind of like Google authenticator app to set your second factor authentication. So if you are having trouble, let us know in the comment section below, so we will let you know how you can do that as well. And the last point, the mantra of being secure and being, protect your own data. If you think something is looking dodgy, so obviously that has something fishy in it. Do not trust them.
We hope this has been informative to you, and now you know what are the best practices and what do you need to do to keep your own data safe. If you have any queries, please let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. To get more such topics, please hit the bell icon so that you get notified as soon as we upload new videos. Thanks for watching.